First Lady Jill Biden took advantage of Women's History Month this March to talk to men about abortion. She says it's a man's job to ensure women can end innocent lives. The First Lady referenced the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade, saying it's a tragedy that there are still, quote, battles that we thought we had won a long time ago. Just last month, the First Lady invited a pro-abortion activist to the president's State of the Union address as a display of her support for the intentional killing of unborn children. I'm joined now by Timothy Head, Executive Director of Faith and Freedom Coalition. Timothy, thanks for joining me. Welcome to the show. What's your reaction to the First Lady's comments? Talk to me about the message that this sends both to men and women.
Well, thank you again so much for having me, Prudence, and for talking about this important issue. You know, it's hard to think of a more important, more kind of critical issue for the life of a nation is actually, do we protect the rights of the innocent, and also are we ensuring that that the next generation is coming to pass? And you know, remarkably enough, there are countries around the world that have had really draconian abortion policies, like China and Russia, that are actually reversing their policies because they don't have enough children and enough in the next generation to actually promulgate their entire population. Meanwhile, we actually still have a Biden White House that's actually following the footsteps of China and Russia and trying to eliminate more and more children. It's a heartbreaking and also just a fool, but I mean, truly it's true folly, if you will. And so I think that we're, you know, the good news in the Dobbs decision making these more state level policies is that we have about 30, maybe 32 states that there's really, really good things happening this year. And at least those of us that love and want to protect life can kind of you know, focus our attention in those 30 or 32 state capitals this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that success in the states and kind of, you know, putting these comments of the First Lady in context, do you think that the Biden administration is really in touch with the will of the people on this issue?
Well, it's a great question, and you know, frankly, what we've seen since the promulgation of the Roe versus Wade opinion back in 1973. That the public opinion has literally shifted 180 degrees. We had about 70% of the world of American voters that considered themselves pro-choice in the early 70s. Now about 70% of voters consider themselves pro-life, you know, with some exceptions in there.
Right.
And so, you know, clearly these comments like, you know, like the First Lady from a few days ago are an effort to kind of like gin up her and the Democrat base, but not actually to try to persuade the vast majority of Americans that actually believe that innocent life should be protected and given a chance.
Yeah, right. And Timothy, as a man yourself, what sort of messages and calls to action do you think men in our culture aren't hearing enough? What should men actually be doing to help women?
Well, it's a great question, and honestly, you know, I think that this is it's really a dog whistle, you know, to say that these are women's issues and women's rights. You know, to be honest with you, I have two daughters myself. Me and my wife do, and we just went through a health scare with a teenage daughter of mine just in the last 4 days.
My goodness.
And I can assure you that as vested as my wife was in that process, I was equally invested. So. You know, it's not just like women or mothers care about their children and fathers don't.
Right.
So, you know, I think that it's important for us to continue to have fathers and men invested in children and in the next generation, just like we need mothers doing the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I hope your daughter's doing well, and it's important, yeah, for men to be involved in their families' lives. Before I let you go, Timothy, explain for our viewers the work that you're doing at the Faith and Freedom Coalition and how people watching might be a part of that.
Well, thanks so much. You know, I would say, just like I alluded to earlier, in times like this where you see gridlock in Washington, D.C., we actually see a lot of really, really neat movement. I would say, you know, one piece that I think a lot of people can pay attention to is Texas is developing what they refer to as an alternatives to abortion program, and also a women's health initiative that will not only protect, again, innocent life, but also you know, provide all of the support that new mothers, about to be mothers and new mothers need as they're giving birth, and then you know, caring for newborns. And so we're seeing a lot of really cutting edge, I think, wonderful initiatives like Texas. And you can certainly follow us on ffcoalition.com. That's ffcoalition.com is our website. And we can update you on a lot of different state policies that we're helping with in a little over half of the country this year. I think there's a lot of good news to be had.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for highlighting that, and thanks for taking the time to join us. Timothy Head, Faith and Freedom Coalition, thank you so much.
Thank you, and God bless.